Everyone, welcome to the I Am Fit2DMax show. I have a very special guest today, my brother from another mother, Professor Tarryn Hoff. Tarryn, how's it going, man?
Excellent. Thank you, Max. Thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming on. I know you have the wife and the kids. By the way, how are the wife and the kids?
They're great. Thank you. Right now they're just growing like weeds. You know how that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Faster than we know. Yeah. So thankfully we're blessed and everything's going very well.
Yeah, definitely. We are blessed, man, and you are blessed for sure. Definitely. I mean, and you're doing some wonderful and great things. What I wanted to talk about with the viewers at home is we want to talk about how to customize fitness programs for long-lasting results. You know, and you being a professor at Georgia State, and just working with all the people that you work with, and how you're like the coaches of coaches, so to speak, in that regard, and then your successful business in Buckhead and all the people that you worked with, and you create quite a reputation for yourself. They call you Tarryn the Traveling Trainer, is that right?
They call me that, hopefully not among any other things, but I think I'm definitely known as the best trainer who wears green, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, hands down,
right.
down.
I don't think any other trainer wears more green than me.
Absolutely. But yeah, you're so passionate about fitness and serving your clients and helping them to get to the best shape of their lives. So much so committed and dedicated, you actually bring the workout to them, so they don't have to come to the gym. You come to their front door and you say, come on, let's get ready to go, and you bring the equipment and everything. Tell me more about your service and how you do that.
Yeah, Max, thank you. Again, I really appreciate giving me the opportunity and the platform to do this. To answer your question, I think that's a huge need because we talked about this before off camera, but a lot of people are fearful and scared sometimes to go to a gym. Like an LA Fitness might be intimidating, or they might say, I don't want people to look at me and such. So the first thing when I started the whole traveling trainer business, Go Tarryn, was, well, let me go to them. Let me bring the gym to them. I don't do this anymore, but I used to fill up my car with a mobile gym of equipment and everything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was great because I'd show up at people's homes or their work, wherever. I just told them, if you got space, I'll come to you, I'll work with them. And the other big thing was that I would go all over the place. I'd go up to Johns Creek, Douglasville, Conyers, south side of Atlanta, and then I just burned myself out, and I was like, look, I got to make this a smarter business, and that's when I kind of, as you mentioned, came up to more so being in Buckhead as a central focus point of working right now.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's great. Yeah, definitely being able to be in a position where you can give your best service and give all that you have to the people that request you. So that's great. So again, I know you're really extremely passionate, just like me, about fitness and wellness. Tell everybody a little bit about how you got started. I mean, you have a wonderful story. I mean, it kind of dates back almost to like when you're overseas and abroad, for school. And I think people need to know that story.
Oh wow, Max. Yeah, you're right. It did start overseas. I graduated from Seoul American High School in Seoul, Korea. I came to the United States to attend Concordia University for my undergraduate. That's in Chicago, Illinois. I did my exercise science degree, thanks to a great faculty advisor, Dr. Lois Klatt. She strongly advised me to be a personal trainer. This is back in 1999. Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I joined.
When it wasn't the it thing to do, right?
Exactly, right. And you're fearful. You're just like, is this the route I should take and such? So I did go that route. I did my internship at the YMCA. I started as a personal trainer. I literally made zero because I was free. I was a free trainer. Remember those internship days?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and so I started there, and again, that was in Chicago, Illinois, and that's what kind of started on the career path of saying, okay, there's something here. I'm definitely feeling passionate about it. I knew that was the beginning of kind of like my career. And I just went from there. I just said, I'm going to follow this route and see where it takes me, and here I am now, I guess.
Absolutely. I would love for you to share the story about that turning point for you when, because you were wrestling for a point in time, right?
Correct. Around that time, Max, I wrestled, both in high school and then in college. We didn't have a wrestling program where I went, but I wrestled professionally in these small, what we call independent shows, like kind of like WWF, but not so much, like kind of smaller farm leagues. You go to the local gymnasiums, basketball courts where 200 or 300 people show up, maybe, if that, and you're making $50 if that, too. And
it's like WWF, like jumping off the top rope,
like absolutely, yeah,
certainly, like Ultimate Warrior type of stuff.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about, Max. Absolutely. And everybody's watching. If they're about close to our age, they know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I mean that's what brought me to Atlanta. When I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, I wanted to join the WCW power plant. And WCW is a professional wrestling organization that was owned by Ted Turner.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, time-wise, or fortunately the way you look at it, when I moved here in 2000, next year, after I was going to join, they went bankrupt. I mean, they went belly up and they got bought out by WWF, their biggest competitor, who now is the only monopoly in town. And so that pretty much shattered that dream, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I wasn't meant to follow that. But I was still passionate about it, so I still wrestled part-time on the side. In fact, I had my last match last year in January, so once in a blue moon, I'll go out there to one of these indie shows and wrestle. But again, I started that, and I loved doing it because it was a challenge. You know, I just love to be able to do that, watching it on TV as a fan, and then saying, hey, I'm going to try this and just, you know, give it a shot.
And it was a big challenge because, I mean, you know, you go and, like, you know, on those cold days in Chicago, I mean, you're, like, walking in the snow and, you know, doing whatever you can to make it to those practices and those matches, right?
Oh, Max, you know, and again, you could relate, but this is the thing. I didn't own a car at that time. It took me 2.5 hours each way to get to training by 3 different methods of transit. I had to take the L train twice and then a bus all the way to the south side. And this is in the evening, by the way, by doing a full undergraduate degree and having 4 jobs on this. Well, they were all part-time, but still, I was working 4 different employers with my internship. YMCA, on campus, lifeguarding, and in the print services department, all while trying to get professional wrestling training in. And that was just kicking my butt. I was just like beat up, and I don't know how I survived it looking back. That was a very difficult time, but you're right, you pay your dues, you sacrifice. You know?
And you survived it, and you were able to get stronger from it.
Yeah.
And it made you a more determined individual. So how has that determination really affected the way that you service your clients and how you're able to really help them to get to that next level when they have those challenges?
That's a great question, Max. I like to use that because it's funny you said that. I will think about that in times of, like, again, the word sacrifice, because when I meet new clients or prospects that are maybe dipping their toe in the water and they're thinking about personal training, I will kind of refer back to that and say, well, look, that was probably one of the hardest times in my life, because when I actually tried out for the WWE, you know, WWF, back in 2005 down in McDonough, Georgia, it was a rigorous, like, boot camp training camp. And they had like 75 of us show up. And at the end of the day, after 3 days, there were 6 of us left. And they beat the heck out of us. You know, again, it was just incredible. I mean, it was pretty crazy. That was by far the hardest physical challenge that I've ever endured by surviving that. And I thought to myself, if I could survive this, then I could survive anything else. And so that's an extreme example, but then when I'm meeting new clients and prospects, to answer your question, to go back to it, I just tell them, just think of the hardest thing that's, you know, out there. Losing weight, my gosh, that's really, really difficult. Cutting back on the sugar, avoiding the temptations. Believe me, I'm the first, I'll admit it. And, you know, when you drive by the restaurant options, fast food and such, you know, what keeps us from stopping at McDonald's versus packing up a healthy salad and making it ourselves? That's what defines us, and that's what I try to tell new clients and encourage prospects when they do become clients or working out in a gym or what have you, or coming here to you. Then I want them to stay on that path and just stay determined. And again, I keep saying that word again, sacrifice.
Sacrifice, yes.
Big word, and commitment too, obviously.
Yeah. So you can have so much more if you're willing to give up a little bit, right?
I believe that, you know, and again, it goes back to what we were just saying. It's not a sprint. It's not like all of a sudden, okay, yeah, perfect, I hit my goal, that's it. I'm going to a wedding, that's great, I'll see you, Max, we're good. Or, you know, Tarryn, I don't need you anymore because I just wanted to go to this class reunion and I've lost the weight. No, this is what, it's cliche, but I want people to do this the rest of their lives. And this is a long-term life commitment for sure, because it's a lifestyle change.
It's a lifestyle, and it's all about life, right?
Definitely, yes.
You know, we had a client of ours just the other day. She lost a good amount of weight, and she was able to decrease her body fat as well. And she was really stoked and excited and upbeat about it. And you know, one of the hashtags she said, screw summer body. and the reason why is like she's thinking big picture, right, long term. Because I mean, you know, what good is a nice body, or what good is being healthy if you can only be that for a season? Why not be that for a lifetime, right? Why not be fit in the wintertime? Why not be fit in the spring? Why not be fit in the summer? Why not be fabulous in the fall, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's alliteration right there.
I like that. That's good, though. I'll have to borrow that if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's
just pick that up. but yeah, you know, so I'm with you with that in terms of just like, you know, long-term success and seeing the big picture, not just aiming for a wedding, just knowing that, okay, a wedding is big, but then, you know, there's another wedding that'll come up, and there's a beach trip, and there's spring break, and there's all kinds of different events that will happen throughout the course or sequence of a life that you want to be there all the time. So if you have that mindset, and you're able to always push towards being fit and being well, that's the ideal situation.
Yeah,
right?
Perpetually. I tell them all the time, just continuously, and don't lose the focus. Just stay focused. And again, it's just, this is what we'll do for the rest of our life, no matter what age they are. That's the commitment right there. That's what it comes down to.
That's the commitment. That's the mindset.
I strongly feel that way. Definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what do you think is like the number one challenge that like a client may face when they come and they see you and they sit down with you, have that heart to heart, tears in the eyes, and they need your help? What is the biggest challenge that you're helping them overcome?
I think you said it before we started recording, Max. It's the big F word. Starts with fear. I really do. I think personally, and I can relate to it because believe me, I'm the first to admit I am a scaredy cat at stuff that I'm not sure if I'm confident about. So yeah, I mean we're all right. Yeah. Anybody watching right now, they can probably relate to it. When someone comes to me and I can see in their eyes, like you said, use that illustration. If they're crying, I've had it happen. I've had people really seriously get like deep and transparent and open. I appreciate that candor, and they say, "Look,
keep on going." Yeah, sorry.
Okay, well, and they say, "Look, I need to make a change." Let's say that's what they're there for, right? And I just think, okay, well, when I try to address that, I can't fix their fear. I understand that. I know that. I'm a big believer I can't change somebody. I believe that ultimately. What I think I can do is I can try to help give them the tools to change and maybe overcome that fear. And what I do is I use myself as a first example. I say, look, I know, and I am very empathetic. I try to sympathize. I say, look, I know it's very scary to lose weight. I know what you mean. It's intimidating when you go out there and you got other people looking at you and you're dressed like this with a shirt and t-shirt, shorts, and you're out there because everyone thinks that they're looking at them and they're prejudging them, right? I'm guilty of it too, believe me. And so what I try to tell them is to overcome that and to say you need to build confidence. Again, another big word starts with C is confidence, because ultimately I really strongly believe that if they could build their confidence and really see themselves overcoming that fear, that they can lose the weight, that they will improve their body image, and that they will reduce their body fat percentage and live healthily, then that's what it's all about.
Yes.
I really believe that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think, you said tools, and when you said tools, I just thought about empowerment. And you're really empowering your people to be able to develop that confidence, and not pseudo-confidence, but a real legit confidence to not only reach their goals, but to sustain it and sustain it long term.
Yeah, it's real, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, so I think that's great. And the fact that you're really customizing it and speaking to that particular person and, what their challenges are, I think is awesome and is amazing. What do you think is the key for you in terms of being able to create like these customized type of programs for people and really helping them to change their mindset? What do you think has been the key for you in that?
What I try to do is engage in active listening, because personal training truly is personalized, individualized, customized to whoever we're talking to. And again, I'm not going to beat on like LA Fitness or CrossFit, but let's just use them for example for a second, right? Because they're kind of like the Walmart of our industry, right? Anybody could go into those places, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon to sit down with them and sell them a contract, and then they're a number and say, all right, go to it. And you'll never see them again, right? That's usually the relationship barrier broken. You and I are different in that. We both are very similar that when we meet someone, not only do we actively listen, but we really want to help them.
Yeah,
right?
They become our friends, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, part of the family. Yeah.
Because if they do, what happens? They become a long-term client of ours, and like you said, friend, right? That's what it's all about. Whereas, again, not to beat on those other places I just mentioned, but it beats that other, kind of initiative of saying, well, our goal is money and profit, and when that new person comes in, this is how we're going to keep them retention as a client. Those sales jargon words and such. The active listening, what I found is beautiful in that is that not only everyone's different, but when you can repeat and speak their language, so to speak, someone comes to me, for example, let's use senior citizens for a second, because I do a lot of work at Canterbury Court now.
Right.
I work with the senior population and gerontology with people in their 80s, 90s, and some older than that. And when they're talking to me, they don't want to fall, and they certainly want to build their confidence too. They're fearful because they want to stay up and not fall. So I try to listen to them, and I try to look them in the face seriously and say, you're not going to fall, and here's how. We're going to work on your balance. We're going to do some heel-to-toe exercises, stand on one foot. We're going to do these exercises, and I'm going to show them. I'm going to say, look, see, I told you you could do it. And then do it in baby steps, kind of just, saying, we're going to progressively do this in baby steps so that we maintain consistency.
That's awesome. That's great. And I think some of the reoccurring themes I'm hearing as I'm listening to you.
Beautiful in that is that not only everyone's different, but when you can repeat and speak their language, so to speak, someone comes to me, for example, let's use senior citizens for a second, because I do a lot of work at Canterbury Court now.
Right.
I work with the senior population in gerontology with people in their 80s, 90s, and some older than that. And when they're talking to me, they don't want to fall, and they certainly want to build their confidence too. They're fearful because they want to stay up and not fall. So I try to listen to them, and I try to look them in the face seriously and say, you're not going to fall, and here's how. We're going to work on your balance. We're going to do some heel-to-toe exercises, stand on one foot. We're going to do these exercises, and I'm going to show them. I'm going to say, look, see, I told you you could do it. And then do it in baby steps, kind of just, saying, we're going to progressively do this in baby steps so that we maintain consistency.
That's awesome. That's great. And I think some of the reoccurring themes I'm hearing as I'm listening to you is that, number one, you're making sure that the client actually has a goal, something that they're aiming towards.
Yeah, certainly.
And then you're reassuring them and giving them that confidence and knowing that that goal can be accomplished.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, here's the game plan. And then you're walking it out bit by bit and piece by piece. And you're being progressive and approaching that goal so they can get there. So
that's what it's all about, yeah.
Well, you know what, I think that's really amazing, and that is a way that people are going to be able to benefit and to be helped. So I think for the people who are at home, I think the one thing that you can learn is making sure that you have a goal and that it's clear that you set it and that you're taking those steps each and every day. It could be small steps, but at least it's progress. And I mean, what we say here a lot is get 1% better.
Oh, yeah.
And if you get 1% better each and every day, then the results are, dramatic over a span of time.
Yeah, it's aggregate, it accumulates, absolutely.
Absolutely,
You're right.
yeah. So what I want to ask you is this, you being a professor and, you're kind of dealing with like the millennial generation and the young people who are coming in. And by the way, don't bash millennials. You sound like that old man that kind of says, get off my lawn, right? Yeah. So, so you're working with that demographic. And one thing we know about millennials is that they're very passionate, right?
Yeah.
So what are you doing to pair with that passion that they have to really make a difference in the world? What are some of the things that you're arming them in, you're giving them in terms of tools to help them to service the community and the world?
Yeah, Max, to answer that, they need to look any further than to have you as an example when you came to guest speak several times at Georgia State for several of my classes. And the thing is that we, just like you, I try to give them real world advice and real world experiences. It's funny because when I'm talking to the millennials, again, we're talking like really young millennials, like early 20s and such in the classes. I'm trying to tell them, look, you don't just get your diploma, your degree, and you go out there and you make six figures and everything's peachy and dory. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And I think they know that, but I really think that they need to hear that from serious experiences. Like for myself, I will tell them my biggest failures. I like to share that. I'm proud of my biggest failures. I have a lot of them. I'm not bashful in admitting that.
Yes.
And I tell them that because I tell them I don't want you guys to make the same dumb mistakes I have, Because again, like all of us think that we're smart, we're not going to make those mistakes, and we're not going to fail. And I try to tell them it's okay to fail,
That's
because
learn, right?
Certainly, yeah, absolutely. And how can we greatly succeed if we don't take risk? And the thing is that I try to tell the students, each of them, they all have, each and every one of them, I point right directly to them, they all have the ability to do anything they want and to make as much money as they want and be anything that they want. That's the bottom line. I tell them nobody's going to stop you unless it's you. And I try to tell them that directly. And I tell them, try to maintain focus, learn from your failures, learn from people who have failed, who will tell you the right and wrong way to do business. And I try to just tell them to actively listen, to engage, to ask a lot of really open-ended good questions to other people that have experience, that are seasoned like us, and to utilize that and to appreciate it too, because when you're that young, you don't appreciate it. Their brains haven't fully, I guess, grown to full capacity to where they understand the importance and value of following up and being thankful to those that are helping them. So I try to tell them, listen to these other professionals, like when Max comes in and guest speaks and tells you, and by the way, brilliant presentation. We need to video yours and have that out there too. Seriously, we really do. And again, that is so much more valuable than anything that I can open up from a textbook and tell them in a course or any kind of lesson plan for that day. really do think the real world experience hits it home for them.
Yeah, so definitely being able to impart and share your experiences.
Oh, yeah,
Because experience is the best teacher. So the
yeah.
best thing to do is experience things for yourself, and then and then probably the one step better is to be able to learn from another person's experience, right? So
certainly. Well said, Max.
That's pretty awesome, man. But again, I mean, I just really love how you go about doing things and your commitment to helping people and serving folks. And it's not a flash in the pan thing. You've been doing it for decades now. I mean, he got the young, face and the demeanor and everything. But it's only because he's living a great lifestyle. He's taking care of himself.
Right.
But yeah, it's like time flies, right?
Oh, it's amazing. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think one thing that I would ask is this. I mean, for people who need to customize their program and they're looking for not only the short-term success, because we want that need, that gotta feel like and see those little wins. The big wins is the long-term success.
Mm-hmm.
What are maybe one or two things that you would suggest that somebody does to be able to experience those wins?
Yeah, Max, here we go. We're going to summarize everything what you just said and hit it home right here and drive it home. I like what you said, the quick wins. That is important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer of baby steps. I like to relate it to like financial health. Like, you always hear wealth is health, health is wealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. I really do believe that. Like the younger age that you learn about budgeting, living within your means, and making sure that you're not spending beyond your means, that will definitely increase financial stability, financial independence, and then financial wealth and success. It's no different than our health and well-being. Like you said, we start with those quick wins. We say, oh man, that's awesome. I went down a belt size. Oh my goodness, I lost 2 pounds. Oh wow, look, my body fat percentage dropped 2%. Awesome, that's great. That is powerful.
Yes.
But like what you do with like double-digit weight loss and losing weight phenomenally, and we're talking pants out to here and such, and before and after pictures, behind the camera they can't see it, but those before and after pictures are phenomenal. That, to answer it, to come back and hit it home, one or two things. I'm going to repeat it for, again, I hold myself as just as accountable. If I don't go to the gym one day, or if I don't eat right, then I hold myself accountable. But that's why they need someone like us to hold them accountable. So the big accountability, I can't say it enough, whether they have someone like you or myself, or someone like, if you can't afford a trainer or to come to a gym or a studio, then use your best friend or a family member and tell them, write down the goal and tell them, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds, or this is my goal, and have them be your accountability coach, right? And then stick to it. Commitment. It's just like no different than you and I have worn the hats of being a manager plenty of times.
Yes.
What's a good manager do? They delegate and then they follow up. They delegate and they follow up. That was instilled to both of us in our management training programs wherever we've worked at. And we're still constantly doing that, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah, so same thing, no different. You put your manager hat on and you, to yourself, you delegate the responsibilities. I got to get to the gym. I got to get eating right. I got to make sure that I'm maintaining the weight loss, and I'm doing my reassessments and measurements. And then what do? I follow up. So I keep doing that to myself and my task, or whoever. If you're partnering up with someone, your spouse, your significant other, your best friend, or a group of friends, you come to some place like Fit2DMax, and wherever you're going to be doing it, you're going to be having a synergistic, symbiotic relationship to where everyone's like truly mutually beneficial. I love that. So that it's a win-win team effort.
Absolutely.
It's all about team effort, certainly. And so the biggest things, again, in short, accountability, commitment, and then back to that big S word, sacrifice. I think that's what it comes down to. If we don't sacrifice and budget the time and budget the investment, it comes back, it's going to sound cliche. It's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. It really is.
Yes,
it is time, it is investment, it is your life. Because again, it comes down to you. Who's more important than you? Nobody. You gotta want it, and that's the thing. Right?
Definitely. You gotta want it, and I always kind of say, one of the things I've always heard is like, no guts, no glory.
Exactly.
If you want the glory, then you gotta, man up, woman up.
Put some skin in the game, right?
Skin in the game and step up to the plate and get after what you want. Because if you want to make the change, all we gotta do is look at that person in the mirror.
Absolutely.
So
you got it.
Michael Jackson said the best. Made a song out of it. So
there you go.
It's so key. It's so key. Tarryn, you've really blown me away, man. I've known you for so long, and it's like, the more and more we talk, the more and more you just, really impress me and wow me. And I got value today. I hope that you guys got value as well, because you're sharing a lot of different things in terms of what you can do, not only to be successful for fitness and weight loss, but then for success and for life, and for you young folks out there, those who want to get into the fitness and wellness industry and help others. He's definitely a great resource to reach out to connect with as well.
Thank you, Max. And just real quick to steal a line from what you always say, iron sharpens iron. It
Yes.
goes back both ways, my man. I learned so much from you, so I owe you all the credit in the world too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, you know, I got that one from the Bible, so credit to God on that one.
That's the best one right there.
Yeah. So Tarryn, man, I mean, if people want to connect with you and follow you, I know you're all over Facebook and YouTube, and you know what I mean. I know you have your show on YouTube and things you do on Instagram. If people just want to follow you as an individual or just professionally, how do they connect with you? How can it be down?
Yeah, thank you, Max. I appreciate it. The quickest way for anybody out there, if they just put in the word Go Tarryn, G-O, and then my name, Tarryn, and they put that in there, either a hashtag or whatever, the @ sign, I don't know. If you Google it nowadays, I'm sure it'll come all over the place. Or the website, gotarryn.com, gotarryn.tv. As you mentioned, I got the YouTube videos, and I'm all over all the social media stuff. So I try to be as present and aware on that as possible. And then, if you're at Georgia State University, look me up at the Kinesiology Health Department because I am staff there. As again, my long-term goal, Max, by the way, is to hopefully land a full-time professorship there someday. Maybe. I don't know when. That's not up to me, but I'll certainly keep trying to do that. So go Panthers! Anybody out there?
Georgia State Panthers.
Georgia State Panthers. That's right. I got to start wearing some more blue in my outfits here.
I like you better in green, though, man. That's my personal opinion, man. I really like you in green.
Maybe we mix it up one day. Blue shorts with a green shirt or something. I don't know.
Hey, I think that'll work. I think it'll make a lot of people happy in that regard, man. But Tarryn, man, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Max. My pleasure. Yes.
And like Tarryn always says, it's about your time, your investment, and your life.
There you go. I love it.
So I definitely had to plug that in. But also too, at Fit2DMax, we always say, you can be fit or you can be fit to max, spiritually, mentally, and physically strong. So these are all different mantras that we use and that we live by, really to fuel us and to get us going in terms of what we're doing and pursuing that fitness and wellness lifestyle. So again, thank you guys for watching, thank you guys for viewing, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. Take care and God bless.